Well, I'm back. We went to Georgia, about 64 miles southwest of Atlanta. I'm trying to think of the actual town. Was LaGrange or something? Um, the Great Wolf Lodge. They had a water park there, indoor water park and stuff, and lodging. See, we were originally scheduled to go. My wife's from that birthday weekend for my wife, but Bitcoin Ben came over. And was like, man, you should really try to go to the Litecoin convention, the summit, man. I really think you should try to go. I'm like, well, my wife's birthday thing. And so I'm like, well, let me just talk to her. She says, well, let's see if we can just reschedule it. If it's free to reschedule, we'll just reschedule it. So I said, all right. It was. So we chose the next weekend after the Litecoin summit. So that's where old Snippy's been since Friday. Took the RV all the way up. And I'm like, man, the front AC unit is not working on the roof, but the back AC unit's fine. So I'm like checking stuff, looking online. I didn't have much time to really spend with it, and just talking to this guy locally up there, at a RV place. I guess they do repair and stuff. And he said, oh, probably the control board. I said, all right. Well, I didn't have a test meter. I didn't really have anything to like test for electricity. So I'm like, let me just take the control board off the back one, put it on the front one. It didn't change anything. Now we're already up there, and it wasn't too bad on the way up, even with just the one in the back working. But I'm like, man, I got to figure this one out. So we next day, which was today, Sunday. When we got there Friday, I screwed around with it a little bit Saturday, but yeah, I didn't want to sit out there too long. Just look on the generator. There's two not fuses, breakers. One of them was flipped, but you can't really see it, so you have to like look up in there where the generator is. Oh, 50, I think it's a 50 amp. Flip it, done. Or maybe it was 30 amp, 230 amps. So the back one was on, the front one was off. And I'm like, yeah, come to think of it, the microwave wasn't on, the light, the clock, the outlets. Afterwards, I started checking outlets. I'm like, oh, well, maybe one of the GFI connectors is tripped. I found it in the bathroom. It wasn't. So I'm like, what the hell? So anyways, found it, no problem. Flipped it on the way back. We had all the AC running. And took the old girl for a spin. It was a good 7 hours to get there, with like one stop, whatever, about 7 hours to get there, same thing to get back, except on the way back, boy, it seemed like we did quite a few more stops than normal. But I want to try that old girl out, like really go a distance. Let me take that sucker up, that whatever it was, 400 miles there, 400 miles back or something, and, make sure that ain't gonna be no problems, everything's working. Again, AC problem, but that was an easy fix, just flip the breaker, in case we got to go do a little treasure hunt. You know what I'm saying? I got to take the old girl out, give her a little spin. So that's why we took it. And yeah, I'm going to say actually, I know what she averaged. She averaged about 7 point something miles to the gallon. And of course, I am driving over 70. So, they say, well, if you really want gas mileage, drive them about 60 mile an hour. Well, I also want to get somewhere at a decent time, so I was doing usually 70 or a little better than 70. So about seven and a half, I think, is what it averaged miles to the gallon. Nothing to write home about, but that's typically what you get in a big, giant RV, freaking bus. Not really a bus, but kind of. Anyways, so that's what I've been doing. A little update here on Zero Hedge. Goldman Sachs warns of a default wave as $1.3 trillion in debt is set to mature. 10 years after the Lehman bankruptcy, the financial elite is obsessed with what will send the world spiraling into the next financial crisis. And with household debt relatively tame by historical standards, excluding student loans, which, however, will likely be forgiven at some point in the near future, or not near, but in the future, he thinks. But mortgage debt, nowhere near the relative levels of 2008. The most likely catalyst to emerge is corporate debt. Indeed, in a New York Times op-ed penned by Morgan Stanley's Ruchir Sharma, the bank's chief global strategist made the claim that when the American markets start feeling it, the results are likely to be very different from 2008. Corporate meltdowns rather than mortgage defaults and bond and pension funds affected more big investment banks. That was his end quote there. But what will be the trigger for said corporate meltdown? According to a new report from Goldman Sachs, the most likely precipitating factor would be rising interest rates, which after the next major round of debt rollovers over the next several years in an environment of rising rates could push corporate cash flows low enough that debt can no longer be serviced effectively. So this is interesting because we are kind of feeling, what things we've read, whether it's psychics or whatever, also point to a few years out, 2020, 2021, 2022, we're going to have us a problem. Now, if you look at Martin Armstrong's economic confidence model, you see we got some problems all the way up to the year, especially the real estate anyways, to the year like 2032. So, again, come on, fingers crossed, cryptos, no more head fakes. October, November, December, like we're hoping. We won. Give us our money. You what? I lost. Anyways, just a quickie. There's a lot more to this article, by the way, but I feel like it's just a little too much to sit here and read. The gist of it is what I just told you. And then we've got the emerging markets. Emerging market meltdown. The currencies attached to those emerging markets, those countries, meltdown. It's all happening now. It's kind of like Jim Sinclair said, the when is now. It's happening now. The odd thing, as I just saw, as I just saw a love bug fly by, mating, one face forward, one backward, fly by, just reminded me, got home, and in this room, my room here, there's like a love bug over there, some love bugs over there, 3 love bugs over here, 5 love bugs over there. What the? We leave for a couple of days and love bugs come in and making love, sweet love in our room. What the hell's going on over here? And as I'm talking to you, I see one fly by. Oh yeah. There's some up on the roof here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th one that flew by. But the ceiling's quite tall. We have one of those little like dust devil vacuums. We're up there trying to get them what we could, my wife and I, when we got back. But they're a little too high up, so they're just going to chill up there while we sleep. Anyways, take care.